When Nintendo released the NES in North America in late 1985, the console was given the near impossible task of reviving an industry that was barely hanging on life support. The home video game market in the United States in the early 1980s had crashed due to poor quality control and an oversaturated market that was flooded with low-quality games. Consumer confidence in home video games were at an all-time low following disasters like E.T. and Pac-Man for the Atari 2600. When Nintendo made the decision to bring their extremely popular Famicom over to North America, they decided to call it the Nintendo Entertainment System, with a heavy marketing campaign to promote the console as not only a video game system, but an entertainment system, capable of far more than just playing games. Nintendo, knowing they were stepping into a very fragile market, implemented strict quality control and licensing rules with the intentions of restoring consumer confidence in home gaming. With launch titles like Duck Hunt, Excitebike, and Super Mario Bros., and accessories like Rob the Robot and the Zapper Light Gun, the NES became an instant mega hit and injected life back into a dying market. Nintendo's popularity exploded, and in 1986 they sold over 1.1 million consoles, single-handedly reviving the video game market and became the dominant force in the video game realm. By 1987, Nintendo and the NES were hitting levels of success never before seen, and Nintendo, with lead video game consultant Howard Phillips, started their own free-of-charge gameplay advice hotline to give gamers extra information about current games, new games that were on the horizon, and also tips and tricks on how to play them. With the success of the hotline, Phillips decided to take this idea one step further and created the Nintendo Fun Club and began publication of the Nintendo Fun Club News, a free quarterly subscription-based newsletter that, like the hotline, featured new upcoming titles, reviews of games, tips, tricks, and tutorials of the most popular NES titles. The newsletter gave gamers never-before access to information about their favorite games. The Nintendo Fun Club was such a huge success, with over 600,000 subscribers to the newsletter, that after 4 issues, Phillips switched the printing to bi-weekly and had hired over 100 hotline gameplay counselors that were constantly bombarded with calls from fans needing help and advice on beating games. Howard Phillips, who was the president of the Fun Club, wanted to further expand on the outreach to the market due to the high demand for more detailed information such as strategy guides, maps, and secrets, and in 1988, after publishing 7 issues, the decision was made to discontinue the Fun Club newsletter and introduce the vastly superior and largely more expansive Nintendo Power magazine. With a huge subscriber fan base already in place, Nintendo made the brilliant marketing decision to send out the first issue of their new magazine free to all Fun Club newsletter members, hoping to draw in a large number of them to the new, now paid subscription-based magazine. The decision was made to run the magazine bi-monthly, with each issue covering 2 months. The new magazine was to focus heavily on providing game strategies, reviews of upcoming or newly released games and accessories, as well as previews of upcoming games. The magazine would also feature dedicated pages to regular columns, such as the Counselor's Corner, where players could ask questions about games and have experts give advice, classified information, where tips, tricks, glitches, and cheat codes would be featured, and the Top 30, where fans and experts would vote on and rank the best games for the NES and later the newer Nintendo consoles as well. A mascot named Nestor was created. The name Nestor derived from the acronym NES and was featured in a comic alongside Howard Phillips that would appear in each issue, with the comic's plot usually revolving around the main featured game for that month. One of the main goals was to build and give gamers a sense of community, and had sections that allowed players to write in and give opinions and feedback, as well as send in custom artwork, pictures, and other contributions such as recipes, stories, and poems. Each issue had unique artistically done cover art that focused on the main feature of the issue, with each volume also covering multiple games in varying levels of detail. A fold-out poster was also included in each issue as a bonus item, giving the readers something to collect and hang on their walls. Each issue also featured contests, polls, and celebrity interviews and spotlights, making the magazine jam-packed with all sorts of different forms of entertainment for readers. The first issue of Nintendo Power magazine was published in July of 1988, featuring the newly released and highly anticipated Super Mario Bros. 2 on the cover, covering the first few levels of the game in great detail. It also featured maps and heavy coverage of the second quest of the mega-popular Legend of Zelda. Nintendo saw immediate success in the magazine, and the green light was given to make it into a full-time production. And just like the entertainment system, the magazine became extremely popular as it gave gamers access to information on their favorite games like never before. The issues always had extremely vibrant, detailed, and colorful cover art, and were packed with comics, posters, and all sorts of free items like trading cards, t-shirt iron-ons, paper airplane kits, and promotional VHS tapes. Subscribers could enter in the multiple contests and giveaways that were always featured, and if gamers wanted more in-depth coverage on their favorite games or needed even more maps and secrets, Nintendo started releasing player's guides that were sent out to subscribers that would focus entirely on one specific game or console or exclusively feature maps and other secrets. The Nintendo Power craze quickly caught on, and due to the incredible popularity and success of the NES, Nintendo soon decided to make the change from bi-monthly to publishing an issue every month, thanks also in part to the growing number of new subscriptions and the plethora of new games to feature and cover. Nintendo Power quickly became the go-to method of obtaining information on anything Nintendo. New issues would fly off store shelves as fast as they were stocked, subscriber counts were rapidly growing, and having a Nintendo Power subscription became worth its weight in gold for young gamers. Nintendo Power was the ultimate source of all things Nintendo related, with monthly contests and giveaways, celebrity profiles and endorsements, a Super Power Club which allowed readers to acquire points and buy Nintendo-based merchandise, and ongoing monthly comics that featured the likes of the Super Mario Bros., The Legend of Zelda, Star Fox, and Metroid. With the overwhelming popularity of the NES and Nintendo Power, Nintendo sat alone high atop the home gaming mountain. Throughout the mid-90s, following the release of the revolutionary Game Boy and the highly anticipated Super Nintendo, Nintendo Power was still going strong, remaining the ideal and easiest way for gamers to obtain information on gaming. But as the end of the century neared and the internet became more popular and accessible, Nintendo Power subscriptions slowly started declining, as the internet was a much easier and more immediate way to seek out information. With walkthroughs, tutorials, and cheats available at the click of a button, magazines started to seem outdated and not worth the wait to arrive each month. By the early 2000s, Nintendo Power still remained popular, as the internet was not yet prevalent and accessible to every household, but it was very clear that the media landscape was changing, as all print-based media was seeing a slow but steady decline. In September of 2007, Nintendo, knowing that a change was necessary, announced that it would license Nintendo Power to Future US, the American subsidiary of the British media publisher Future plc. Future US took over publishing responsibilities, starting with issue number 222 in December of 2007. Under Future US, the magazine continued with similar content, but evolved to include broader editorial features, more industry-wide coverage while still mostly Nintendo-focused, and expanded community and reader engagement features. Even with changes in publishing and editorial direction, magazines faced ongoing declines in circulation amid the rise of online content. On August 21, 2012, Nintendo announced that it would not renew its licensing agreement with Future US, meaning Nintendo Power would cease publication after 24 years with a total of 285 issues. In 2017, 5 years after the magazine's final print run, Nintendo Power returned in a digital podcast format, launching on December 20th, hosted by Chris Slate, a former editor-in-chief of the magazine. The podcast focused on Nintendo news, retrospectives, and discussions, and ran for 6 years, with the final broadcast coming in 2023, ending the final chapter to the iconic Nintendo Power brand. At the end of the day, Nintendo Power was more than a magazine. For many gamers, it was a monthly ritual for tracking Nintendo's latest games and consoles, a community hub and a way to interact with other gamers from around the world, something that wasn't possible before the internet and social media. In the era before fast online searches or streaming guides, Nintendo Power was where many learned to play, compete, and explore games deeply, and its legacy still evokes strong nostalgia in gaming cultures today. In a time before online walkthroughs, YouTube, or wikis, Nintendo Power was the authority on how to understand and master games. It published maps, enemy breakdowns, item explanations, and boss strategies that many players couldn't realistically figure out on their own. Complex games like The Legend of Zelda, Metroid, and Final Fantasy became more approachable because the magazine taught players how to think about the game in a more in-depth way and not just button mashing. In the late 80s and early 90s, video games were often dismissed as toys. Nintendo Power treated them seriously. Reviews discussed design, difficulty, innovation, and replay value. Games were framed as creative works with worlds, rules, and depth. Feature articles and developer interviews gave players insight into how games were made. For many kids and teens, Nintendo Power validated gaming as a real interest worth time and attention. Nintendo Power didn't just talk at readers, it talked with them. Letter sections let players share tips, questions, and artwork. Contests encouraged participation and creativity. Comics and reoccurring characters like Nestor gave the magazine a personality. For many young gamers, especially those without many friends who played games, the magazine felt like being part of a club. To open and read an issue of Nintendo Power magazine today is like being transported back in time, when the most important things in life were finding the candle in the Adventure of Link to be able to see in the dark, or to learn the correct order to beat the Mega Man bosses, and being blown away to discover that a simple code could give you 30 lives in Contra. a code that we can all recite at the drop of a hat all these years later. Lifetime memories and experiences that we can all thank Nintendo Power for. Whether you had a subscription yourself or you knew someone that did, when you got your hands on that magazine, you just knew that you were holding something special and the fun was just about to start. So leave a comment down below. Did you have a subscription to Nintendo Power magazine? And if you didn't, did you know anybody that did? And what were your memories when you held that magazine, about ready to open it up and flip through the pages, knowing that the key to your gaming success was right inside the cover? Thanks everyone for watching, and I'll see you next time.